Hey everybody, welcome to Big Valley Living. And my goodness, it is about to get really hot here in Sacramento. And boy,
First 100-degree weekend, and so we're doing as much in the morning and in the evenings as we can. Looks like it cooled down pretty nicely. We have a little breeze going right now, so we're going to take advantage of it and maybe have a little bit later dinner, take advantage of the shade and everything. So what we thought we would do is show you what we're going to focus on tomorrow morning and Monday morning. It's a long weekend. And
we did a whole kit and caboodle garden tour
in April,
and now we're at the very end of May, and so we should. I thought we'd just take a walk around and show you where everything is right now, and then
not the whole kit and caboodle.
Not the whole kit and caboodle,
just the vegetable patch.
Yeah, just the garden things that we've been doing lately.
Yeah.
And show you where it is from where it was just a couple weeks ago. So hold on to your seat.
Yeah, you get to see the tomatoes. Daisy says hello. All right, so in February, actually February 12th, we planted radish and we planted beets. And we harvested the radishes maybe 6 weeks after we planted them, and we had a really good, pretty good harvest. We learned a lot. Some varieties I think like a little bit more heat than they got, so we're going to be planting some more. But good news is that a lot of our beets survived. Beets tend to grow up and out of the ground. We had great germination, so where we put 2 or 3 seeds and didn't thin them, obviously we have like some smaller, more tender beets, and that's okay because they're tasty. We have all these really nice greens, and I do plan on sauteing those up with a little bit of butter and garlic, and they'll be just like having spinach. They're full of nutrients, so nothing will really go to waste here except maybe the stalks. Look at how nicely they're just pulling out of this raised bed. That is a really beautiful beet. So we'll be roasting those up with dinner over the next few days. And again, we put 3 in the same hole, so we ended up with this really tiny guy. These were the colored beets, and ooh, that's nice. It's gonna be a lighter colored beet right there. Look at that. Oh, that is super cool. Super, super cool.
There you go.
Okay. And that's our harvest. We have some golden beets. The squirrels tended to eat most of those when they were germinating, so they must have a different flavor when they're small. And then we have these multicolored beets. We have some Detroit Reds. They're the really dark ones. These Detroit Reds are mostly like what you get at your store, your farmer's market. They're all dark red beets. And we love beets. If you boil them and peel them and slice them up, if you closed your eyes and you dipped them in mayonnaise, you would think you were eating an artichoke heart. And I know that sounds kind of far-fetched, but it's true.
So this is the tomato bed, and last time we were here was when we did colorful trellises, and they are amazing right now. I'm sorry, Amish paste. And this is oregano out here on the side, and let's see if we can get down on that there. Got little babies going. So that's a whole row of Amish paste. All of this down here, I'll be cleaning this out this weekend, so it will have straw put over it and help keep that moisture in, because we're getting ready to go into some really hot weather. This whole row here is San Marzanos, with the exception of 3 at the very end, and those are big rainbows. And pretty much every plant in here has at least a tomato, or as you can see. So this is one of the San Marzanos. It's the closest to the end here, and as you can see, there are a few tomatoes on that, and pretty much every single tomato down that whole row has at least a couple tomatoes on the bottom. And the very three at the three at the very end there are big rainbows, so they can get up to a couple pound tomatoes on them. And yeah, that'll be the end of our paste type tomatoes, with the exception, of course, of the big rainbows. And then these are the Cherokee purples, with the exception of the three at the end, because those are big rainbows as well, and one red brandywine. And
how big are those fruits gonna get?
They get the big rainbows, like I said, they get to be about 2 pounds, and the red brandywine's a really meaty red tomato, so it'll get to be about a pound and a half. And this one here is a Cherokee purple that you're focused on right now. That's a Cherokee purple, so those are going to be awesome. Those I can't believe that they're tomatoes that are just popping out on that bad boy. So moving on, so this entire row that we're on here, those are all red brandywines. They get to be a pound and a half. They're really meaty tomatoes and are they're just amazing. The one at the very end, it almost has like a tree trunk on it. It's probably 3/4 of an inch in diameter. They're really big. It's really amazing to me. And as you can notice at the bottom, I've cut all of those leaves off at the bottom. And Days, come on. And so nothing's touching the ground. That's really important. Regardless how you're growing your tomatoes, you're going to want to make sure that you have that bottom part where you don't have any tomatoes on it. So if you notice, I've cut all of the branches off up until the first set of tomatoes, and that's where I am at this point. And then when those tomatoes are grown out and spent and I can cut that off, I'll go up to the next set of tomatoes, and so it'll end up with a really long stem on it. So these are red brandywines. I need to mention, this is the first time I've grown them. I've grown yellow brandywines, but this is the first time with the red brandywines, and they have a lot of fruit on them. I'm really excited. I've grown every other tomato in here with the exception of the brandywine and the rainbow, the big rainbow. I have not grown that either. So I'm really excited to see what comes of those. I have one more left. Okay, so our last row are black crims, and all of our tomatoes are indeterminates. So that's why I've pruned them back, because the difference between an indeterminate and a determinate is a determinate will grow all of its tomatoes and it'll set them all at once and they're done. So you don't want to do this pruning if your tomato is an indeterminate or is a determinate. So for indeterminates, they just keep going and going and going until really at the end of the year frost kills them. So I should be able to grow these up,
maybe until Thanksgiving.
Maybe until Thanksgiving.
We have grown tomatoes until Thanksgiving here. But they do lose their flavor as the evenings get colder. That's something to know, even if you live in a temperate zone. I just want to mention that because, once it gets cold and there's less light, they do tend to lose a little bit of their flavor if you're growing them outdoors. Yeah,
so once again, those are black crims. When I prune, I'll prune everything up until right at about the first set of tomatoes, which are here. But then going up, I will see these kind of grow in, some people call it the armpit, the crux, the whatever. You want to get that
crotch.
Guy out of there,
Sometimes
the crotch,
they call it a crotch.
The crotch, whatever. You want to get those out, because then I'll put more energy up here to this fruit, because as you can see, we have another tomato here, there's one there, and it's starting to put out more tomatoes up here too. And I take those off of every single plant, because again, they're all indeterminate. Okay, so every single tomato in our garden to this point, we have grown from seed, and this is the first time I've ever grown everything from seed. So I'm really excited, and man, it's, watching it go from a little seed and then you put it in the ground, and all of a sudden it's 1.5 feet tall, and it has a whole bunch of tomatoes on it, and all of that kind of stuff is really exciting. One other thing to keep in mind, in the summertime when it's really hot, coming out to the garden and grabbing a tomato and cooling it down and putting it on a sandwich or something like that, you just can't beat it.
And last but not least, tonight in the garden, you can see we have a really nice breeze coming in. And this is our pomegranate. I'm telling you, this is a bumper crop. I do not think we have ever had this many beautiful pomegranates in a year, in the same year. So I do want to point out, and we learned this from Lead Farmer 73 on his page. Thank you, Lead. Shout out to you, buddy. That, you know, just like all plants, there are many times our male and female flowers. And I'm going to show you a really good example of 2 in 1 right here. So this is a female. Okay, you can see that she's pregnant, so this is going to be the fruit that we eat. Right above it is a male flower, and the shape of the male flower is more like a bell. It doesn't have that bulb at the end. That's just about ready to fall off. And then what we'll have are all of these beautiful ladies right here. You can see them all over this tree. We got this as a start. It was just nothing but literally a stick that was cut off about 20 years ago from a friend, and it is just amazing. It is so glorious. So I just wanted to show you the progress of where we are right now, and this is just such a nice shady spot to enjoy a cool evening. That we had some bricks in the dirty area back there where we're going to end up having a shed. So last weekend we just kind of created this little seating area here, and we took last year's straw and kind of spread it around. Hi, Leo. And we spread it around under the tree to keep the roots cool and everything, and it just keeps the water in because obviously it gets hot and dry here, and the dogs like to jump around in there. That's cool. Anyway, just wanted to show you the pomegranates.
So here we have, I don't know, 30 or 40 heads of garlic in here, and they're getting pretty darn close to coming out. You can see how it's starting to kind of turn brown there, and kind of gets looping over right in here. It's kind of getting that, it's turning brown, and down in here as well. So once they get browned up a little bit more, and hopefully they'll, I can't wait to see them, because they've been in there for probably 6 months. So it'll be nice to see what they're doing. And then the asparagus. This is the last year I'm going to let this thing go like this, and then we'll get shoots like that right there, and that's what we'll get, and we'll just keep cutting it back from here on next year, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, that's about it. Just a quick overview of where we are right now. We're just enjoying a really nice breezy evening here in the Big Valley with the dogs in the garden.
So up until this point, you know, everybody that gardens, they've been you know, putting in a lot of work and everything. Sometimes you got to take a minute and say, wow, everything's growing, and look at that. Wow, there are tomatoes there. So don't forget to take time to check it out in the middle of your working your buns off.
Part of the joy of gardening is just sitting there and enjoying everything that you've done.
And with that, if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing to our channel, and don't forget to hit that like button, and of course the bell.
Ding, ding.
And that's it for me. See you later, everybody.
Be kind. Thanks for visiting Big Valley Living. Leo says goodbye.
Hush, Leo.